Chosen ones, you weren't supposed to make it. Not out alive, not out sane. But look at you, thriving, glowing, unbothered. They threw everything at you and it still wasn't enough. Now they're choking on the realization. You're built different, unstoppable, untouchable. Period. Let me tell you something undeniable. The enemy knew exactly what he was doing when he came for you. He wasn't playing games. He orchestrated a calculated assault on your life. The plan wasn't just to trip you up. It was to break you, dismantle you piece by piece until there was nothing left but ashes. He didn't just attack your circumstances. He went for your mind, your peace, your identity. Every whisper of doubt, every betrayal, every moment of isolation, they were all part of his playbook. He wanted you to feel unseen, unheard, and utterly alone. Let's be real. Some of the people you trusted, some of the ones you called friend, were complicit. Whether knowingly or not, they became instruments of chaos in your life. The goal was clear: to make you believe you were forgotten, discarded, irrelevant. Society piled on too. It told you to keep it together, even when the weight of the world was crushing your spirit. It mocked your struggles, praised your adversaries, and acted like your pain was your fault. But here's the truth that the enemy underestimated. You weren't just fighting for survival. You were fighting for your purpose. And when you belong to the Most High God, your purpose cannot be stolen. The enemy didn't anticipate your resilience. He thought he could destabilize you, but what he didn't see coming was the strength of God's hand on your life. What was meant to destroy you only exposed the weakness of the enemy's plans. Just when it seemed like the darkness would swallow you whole, God moved. Not subtly, not quietly. He moved with power, with precision, and with a force that left no doubt that his hand was upon you. The enemy thought he had you cornered, but he didn't realize that God had already written the ending to this story. The enemy's schemes were just a backdrop for God's glory to be revealed in your life. Drop a comment. I stand in divine strength if God's power has turned their plans to dust. God didn't simply pull you out of the chaos. He stepped into it with you. When everything around you was screaming for your surrender, he whispered, "Stand." When your strength failed, his strength carried you, and while you were begging for an escape, he was orchestrating your breakthrough. What you saw as the end of the road, God saw as the beginning of a new chapter, one that would testify to his power and faithfulness. God didn't waste your pain. Every trial, every sleepless night, every tear you cried became part of his divine process. He used the very chaos meant to destroy you as a forge, shaping you into someone the enemy could no longer intimidate. Like a master craftsman, he chipped away at the insecurities, the doubts, and the lies that had clung to you for so long. What emerged from that fire was something the enemy feared, a believer who knows their worth, their strength, and their purpose. God's plan wasn't just to rescue you, it was to elevate you. He wanted the world to see that no weapon formed against you could prosper, not because of your strength, but because of his. Every closed door was his protection, every delay was his preparation, and every battle you fought was a stage for his glory. Now look at you. The enemy tried to write you off, but God rewrote the story. He's not just the God of second chances, he's the God of resurrection. When the enemy declared it was over, God stepped in and said, "Watch what I'm about to do." The battlefield wasn't just in the world around you, it was in your mind, where the enemy waged his most relentless war. He whispered lies into your ear, telling you that you weren't enough, that you'd never recover, that this was the end of the line. Those lies felt heavy, didn't they? Because they didn't come alone. They came wrapped in memories of failure, rejection, and shame. The enemy knew that if he could control your mind, he could control your life. But what he didn't count on was the strength of the God who fights for you. There were moments, weren't there, when you questioned if you could keep going. The weight of despair felt suffocating, and the scars, those invisible marks left by heartbreak, betrayal, and loss, were hard to carry. Yet in those dark nights, God was there, speaking softly into your spirit. "You are mine. You are stronger than this moment." It wasn't just your faith holding on, it was God holding on to you, refusing to let you be consumed by the darkness. And let's not gloss over the tears. Those moments when you were curled up, overwhelmed by emotions too deep for words, thinking no one saw you. God saw you. Every tear was a prayer, every cry a plea he heard loud and clear. He didn't ignore your pain. He allowed it to strengthen you. This wasn't a punishment, it was preparation. The mental battles you faced weren't signs of weakness. They were the evidence of your resilience and your refusal to let go of the promise God placed over your life. But it wasn't just survival, it was transformation. The struggles you faced rewired your spirit, giving you a strength you didn't know you had. Those sleepless nights taught you how to pray in ways you never had before. That anxiety? It forced you to lean on God as your peace, your Jehovah Shalom. The depression tried to steal your joy, but God reminded you that joy doesn't come from circumstances, it comes from Him. Piece by piece, the emotional scars became battle stripes, proof of every fight you've overcome. And here's the truth the enemy doesn't want you to hear. You are unshaken because of these battles. They didn't break you, they fortified you. Your mind is sharper, your faith is stronger, and your spirit is unstoppable. You've been through the fire and now you wear the proof of victory. The emotional and mental scars that once brought you shame now testify to your God-given resilience. You're not just surviving, you're thriving, and nothing can take that away from you. Trials have a way of sharpening the senses, don't they? Think about it. How many times have you looked back and thought, I should have seen it coming? The enemy exploited your trust, your good intentions, and your willingness to believe the best in people. But that's no longer your story. God has equipped you to recognize His voice above the noise, to separate truth from lies, and to spot the traps the enemy sets long before you step into them. This isn't paranoia, it's preparation. It's the wisdom that comes from walking with God through the darkest valleys and learning to rely on His guidance. This discernment isn't just for your protection, it's for your purpose. With every trial, God has taught you how to move differently, how to choose wisely, and how to walk in alignment with His will. You've learned to discern not just what looks good, but what is truly of God. That wisdom is priceless. It has elevated your relationships, transformed your decisions, and made you a force to be reckoned with. You no longer settle for mediocrity because you recognize the excellence God has placed within you. And don't underestimate how powerful this gift is. Discernment is what keeps you steps ahead of the enemy, what enables you to dismantle his plans before they even take root. It's the voice inside you that says, this isn't right, when everything around you seems fine. That's the Holy Spirit, your guide and protector, empowering you to live with clarity and confidence. The wisdom you now carry didn't come easy, but it's a weapon the enemy cannot disarm. What's more, your wisdom isn't just for you. It's a beacon for others. When people seek your counsel, they're not just hearing your voice. They're witnessing the fruit of God's work in your life. Your insight becomes a roadmap for others navigating their own storms. This isn't just survival, it's mastery. You're walking proof that when God refines someone, He equips them with the tools to thrive in any situation. And because of that, you walk boldly, eyes open, spirit prepared, and heart anchored in divine truth. Here's to you, the chosen one, the one who doesn't fit in, the one who sees beyond the veil, the one who's been told to stay quiet, to settle, to conform, but never could. You aren't interested in what's ordinary. You aren't here to follow someone else's rules. You're the light in the dark, the storm that shatters illusions, the unshakable, the unstoppable, the untouchable. While the world is busy running circles, you're walking your own path, alone if you must. Not for the applause, not for the approval, but because it's who you are. Here's to you who take what was meant to destroy you and transform it into something divine. The one who carries wisdom that can't be taught, only earned. If this resonates with you, then maybe it's time to find your people. The Obsidian Inner Order is the only place of its kind, the #1 ascension nexus for chosen ones, where over 400 of us gather to share wisdom, connect, and transform. No masks, no games, just truth. The link is in the description. If you're ready, you'll know where to find us. If not, that's fine too. The choice is yours. Your story isn't just a record of what you've been through, it's a weapon. The enemy wanted you to stay silent, to drown in shame and regret, so no one would ever know the battles you've won. But let me tell you this, your testimony is a declaration of war. Every time you open your mouth to speak about what God has done, you shake the foundations of the enemy's camp. Your survival isn't just for you. It's a beacon of hope for everyone watching, listening, and wondering if they can make it too. Think about it. How many people are walking through the same fire you've already come out of? They're searching for answers, for reassurance, for proof that there's life beyond the storm. And that's where your testimony comes in. When you speak, you're not just telling a story, you're building faith. You're letting people see the power of God in action. You're showing them that the same God who delivered you can deliver them too. Your words are more than inspiration. They are a weapon that destroys the lies of the enemy and sets captives free. The beauty of your testimony is that it silences the accuser. The enemy can't argue with what God has done in your life. He can't erase the evidence of your victory. Every scar you carry, every battle you've won, every miracle you've witnessed is a direct refutation of his schemes. Your testimony strips him of his power, exposing his tactics as futile in the face of God's sovereignty. And when you speak your truth boldly, you remind him and everyone else that he's already defeated. But this weapon isn't just defensive, it's offensive. Your story has the power to tear down strongholds, to break generational curses, to inspire courage in those who are ready to give up. When you share how God turned your pain into purpose, you activate something in others. You ignite their faith, their hope, their resolve. And here's the thing. You don't need a platform, a microphone, or an audience of thousands. Every conversation, every moment of vulnerability, every time you say, "This is what God did for me," you're changing lives. So own your testimony. Stop hiding it, minimizing it, or waiting for the perfect moment to share it. God brought you through for a reason, and that reason isn't just for your benefit. It's so you can stand tall, bold, and unashamed, declaring his goodness to the world. Your story is your weapon, and it's time to wield it with authority. The world needs what you've been through. Someone's breakthrough is tied to your obedience. So speak up, chosen child of the Most High, and watch how your words become a lifeline for someone else. Let me make something clear. You didn't make it through by accident, and you're not standing here by luck. The favor of God has been on your life from the very beginning. Even when it didn't feel like it, even when it seemed like everything was falling apart, God's hand was at work, guiding you, protecting you, and positioning you for a greater purpose. His favor doesn't just shield you, it elevates you. It takes you from the pit to the palace, from overlooked to undeniable. Do you understand the weight of what God is doing in your life? The doors opening for you aren't because of your qualifications or connections. They're because God has declared, "This is my child, and it's their time." When he says yes, no one can say no. That's favor. It's what places you in rooms you never thought you'd enter, gives you opportunities you couldn't even imagine, and allows you to thrive where others expected you to fail. It's not fair, and that's the point. Favor isn't earned. It's given. Look back for a moment. The times you thought you were forgotten, that was favor, keeping you hidden until the appointed time. The rejections you faced, that was favor, redirecting you toward something better. The setbacks that felt unbearable, that was favor, building your character so you could handle the blessings coming your way. God's favor isn't always obvious, but it's always intentional. And now it's undeniable. He's preparing a table for you right in front of those who doubted you. Here's what you need to understand. Favor doesn't just bless you, it confounds your enemies. Those who plotted against you, who underestimated you, who thought they'd see your downfall. They're watching as God elevates you to places they can't reach. And it's not about vengeance, it's about revelation. Through your life, God is showing the world what his favor looks like. It's unexplainable, unstoppable, and absolutely undeniable. But with great favor comes great responsibility. You're not just blessed to be blessed, you're blessed to be a blessing. God's favor on your life isn't just about what you can gain, it's about what you can give. It's about using your position, your influence, and your resources to glorify him and uplift others. So walk boldly in that favor, chosen child of the Most High. Wear it with humility and confidence, knowing that what God has started in you, he will bring to completion. Let's settle this once and for all. The enemy is powerless. He is loud, yes. He is persistent, sure. But power? He doesn't have it. Every move he made against you, every scheme he orchestrated, every trap he set, it all failed. Do you understand what that means? It means his authority over your life is an illusion, and you, chosen child of the Most High, have walked out of his grip. Your survival is the evidence of his defeat, and your victory is the proof that God's power reigns supreme. Here's the truth. The enemy repeats himself because he's unoriginal. He uses the same tired tactics, the same lies, the same tricks, hoping you won't notice. He's like a broken record, trying to replay the shame, the fear, and the doubt that God already freed you from. But now you see it for what it is. You've gained the discernment to recognize his strategies and the wisdom to render them useless. His weapons are dull, his threats are hollow, and his attempts to destroy you are laughable in the light of God's power. What's more, the enemy is frustrated by you. Every time you rise, every time you praise, every time you refuse to give up, it's a direct assault on his kingdom. He wanted you silent, broken, and defeated. Instead, you're standing tall, declaring the goodness of God, and walking boldly in the victory already won for you. This isn't just survival, it's dominion. The very things the enemy meant to destroy you have become the tools you use to overcome. And don't forget this. The enemy's power was broken at the cross. When Jesus rose, the authority of sin, death, and darkness was shattered forever. That victory wasn't just for the past, it's for your present and your future. The enemy's schemes against you don't just fail, they backfire. What he intended for evil, God has already turned for good. Every attack only serves to elevate you, strengthen you, and bring you closer to your purpose. So walk with your head high and your spirit unshaken. The enemy's best efforts couldn't stop you, and they never will. He can roar, but he cannot touch you. He can threaten, but he cannot win. You are covered, protected, and empowered by the God who has already declared your victory. Remember this. The enemy didn't just lose, you won, and because of that you are unstoppable. God doesn't bring you through the storm just to leave you in the aftermath. He's a God of seasons, and right now you're stepping into something new, something greater. But hear this. A new season requires a new mindset. You can't carry the baggage of the old into the blessings of the new. The lessons you've learned, the strength you've gained, and the wisdom you now carry are the tools you'll need. The pain is behind you, and the promise is ahead. It's time to prepare. Every trial you faced wasn't random. It was training. The heartbreak, the setbacks, the battles, they weren't meant to destroy you, but to develop you. God has been molding you, shaping you, and positioning you for a season of restoration and abundance. The trials taught you endurance, the isolation taught you intimacy with God, and the delays taught you trust. Now you're ready. Ready to walk into rooms you once thought were out of reach. Ready to claim opportunities that seemed impossible. Ready to live fully in the purpose God designed for you. But make no mistake, preparation isn't passive. This is the time to sharpen your focus, to pray with intention, and to move with purpose. You've got to stay humble, because pride is the quickest way to fumble a blessing. Stay vigilant because the enemy doesn't give up just because you've won a battle. And most importantly, stay obedient to God's voice. His timing is perfect, and his plan is unstoppable, but your alignment with him is critical. This new season isn't just about you, it's about impact. God is positioning you as a light in the darkness, a voice for the voiceless, and a vessel for his glory. Your elevation is a call to action, a divine responsibility to lead, inspire, and uplift. The blessings coming your way aren't just for your comfort, they're for his kingdom. With every door that opens, with every breakthrough you receive, remember that it's all for his glory. So get ready. Pack light. Leave behind the fear, the doubt, and the pain of the past. Walk boldly into this new season with the confidence that you've been prepared for this moment. You didn't just survive, you thrived. And now it's time to embrace the restoration, the abundance, and the purpose that God has been preparing for you all along. This is your season, chosen child of the Most High. Step into it with power, grace, and unshakable faith. Your journey was never meant to stay with you. The battles you fought, the victories you've won, and the lessons you've learned are all part of a divine ripple effect. God didn't bring you through the fire just so you could sit in your testimony. He brought you through so you could ignite the faith of others. Your life, chosen child of the Most High, is a beacon for those still trapped in the dark, and your boldness in sharing it will empower others to rise. Think about the people who are watching you right now. They're struggling with the same storms you've already overcome. They see your strength, your resilience, and your unshakable faith, and they wonder, how did they do it? Don't let them wonder. Tell them. Be the voice that says, I've been where you are, and let me tell you what God can do. Your transparency can shatter someone's chains. Your courage can spark someone's hope. Your obedience can be someone else's breakthrough. Empowering others doesn't mean having all the answers. It means showing up. It means being vulnerable about your scars and unafraid to share your victories. People don't need perfection. They need proof that survival is possible. When you speak about how God brought you out, you become a living testimony of His power and grace. Your story doesn't just inspire, it equips. It gives people the tools they need to fight their own battles, knowing they too have a God who won't fail them. This isn't just about words, it's about action. Empowerment is a call to lead by example, to lift others up, to share your resources, your wisdom, your faith. It's about being the kind of person who doesn't just pray for someone but also walks with them through their struggles. It's about using your platform, no matter how big or small, to amplify God's goodness. Your journey has equipped you with everything you need to pour into others, to strengthen the weary and to guide the lost. Never forget, your pain had a purpose, and that purpose extends far beyond you. God entrusted you with this testimony because He knew you'd use it to build His kingdom. So stand tall and speak boldly. Share your journey with confidence, knowing that every word, every action, and every act of faith is part of a greater plan. You are not just a survivor, you are a source of strength for others. And as you empower them, you honor the God who empowered you. You were never supposed to come out of this alive or sane. The enemy's plan was clear: to destroy you, to silence you, to leave you broken beyond repair. But God had a different plan. He took every trial, every tear, every wound, and turned it into a testimony. You are standing here today, stronger, wiser, and a living testament to the power of His grace. Your story isn't one of defeat, but of divine victory. This is your moment to walk boldly in the truth of who you are, a chosen child of the Most High God, victorious against all odds. The battles you faced didn't just shape you, they prepared you. The storms didn't just test you, they proved you. And now you are positioned to thrive, to lead, and to empower others with the truth that if God can bring you through it, He can do the same for them. Let this be a call to action. Share your journey. Tell your story. Be a light in a world that desperately needs hope. Someone's breakthrough is waiting on your boldness. Walk boldly in the victory God has already given you. And as you move forward, remember this: you didn't just survive, you were chosen to rise. Be blessed, stay encouraged, and go forth in the strength and power of the God who has already declared you victorious.